Okay, everybody, we are going to get started in just a minute here. I'd like to welcome all of you to today's session and thank all of you who were able to attend this afternoon. My name is Daniel Lavoie, and I'm a sales director here at Novotech. I am joined today by our presenter, Paul Rigotti, engineer and technical sales director for Nextivity. This session is aimed at providing you guys with an overview of Cel-Fi by Nextivity, and with that, I will turn it over to you, Paul.
Fantastic. Thank you, Daniel, for the warm welcome, and thank you to Novotech for being partners of Nextivity in hosting this webinar today. It is my privilege to be working with you and to welcome our audience to our webinar. Welcome to those that are familiar with our Cel-Fi product line, and a special welcome to those that are looking to learn more about the innovative Cel-Fi products presented today and how to improve cellular coverage. My goal today is to advance you and introduce some innovative products that are available for the Canadian market. I'll explain who is Cel-Fi, how we're different compared to the legacy and incumbent cellular boosting solutions today, and educate on what puts Cel-Fi in a league of its own. I'll talk about our secret sauce and explain the access to design tools available, and finish with some use cases from the Canadian market. Next slide. Who is Cel-Fi by Nextivity? Well, Cel-Fi is the brand and Nextivity is the company. Nextivity is an innovation company with its R&D and headquarters in California. Nextivity has sales offices throughout the continents with an effort to work with the global operator base and its sales partners. Nextivity is an R&D company that was conceived with the cellular operators in mind first. Cellular boosting is our expertise. Our company's commitment to innovation and design has allowed us to forge relationships with over 200 mobile network operators in over 100 countries. We are an award-winning company that develops cutting-edge features for cellular signal boosting and DAS, that's distributed antenna systems. You can see our complete list of awards on our website, and the URL is shown there. It's celfi.com/awards. There's over 35 of them. Next slide. Here's a small sampling of some of our cellular operator customers. The operators here include 16 of the top 20 global operators by subscribers, and I've included Canada there. These relationships were created by introducing Cel-Fi by entering the front door, so to speak. Our sales and engineering team work with the operators to engage them in their requirements, offer to send bodies to their lab to test the product alongside their engineers, and we continue an active rapport that includes an open dialogue and receptiveness to operators' needs, including listening to their feature requests that influence the evolution of our product roadmap. We answer their questions. Working directly with operators is our company creed and has afforded us to be a trusted brand today. Next slide. The poor cellular coverage is a fact of life today. Yes, it is. Physics is real. With the growing dependence on wireless connectivity indoors, but not just indoors, there's a growing need for solutions that are effective, network safe, they perform well, and are cost effective. Enter Cel-Fi into Canada. In Canada, Rogers and Videotron have endorsed our products for their network safe operations and performance, and have provided their acceptance on paper, approving our products for the Cel-Fi PRO, the Go, the Cel-Fi QUATRA. Cel-Fi is available for Bell and TELUS too. And even though they still maintain focus on their picocell solutions and don't deviate from their first choice of a solution, and we respect that, but there's been an acceptance at the integrator level working with Bell and TELUS projects that have approved Cel-Fi and are largely made comfortable by our testament to a network-safe product in Cel-Fi. Our proven motto of do no harm has been ever present in the, to the operators' networks. Cellular network is the genesis of our company and is imprinted in our fabric, all the while delivering paramount performance. I'll describe more of this in the next slide. Next slide. So, here are our building blocks. They're based on our main missions of performance, network safety, that's keeping the network safe, the operator's network safe, being cost effective, and there's an ease of use as well. So I'll make it clear, Cel-Fi has the best solution available in the market today for addressing the universal challenge of poor cellular coverage in the office, at home, or on the road. Let's learn a little bit about the technology that makes us a better coverage solution. So we're a technology company that has sought out to redesign signal boosters from the ground up. We've designed our own portfolio of IP along with our own custom silicon chipset. We've delivered 4 generations of a custom chipset. The custom chipset is inside every product, along with 27 patents, and allows us to deliver carrier-specific channelized, remember that, channelized boosting. What does this even mean? Well, only the operator's licensed spectrum is boosted. We're not a wideband boost everything solution. Carrier-specific boosting has allowed us to create an entirely brand new class of signal boosters called carrier-specific boosters, and that's defined by the FCC and ISED in Canada. The rules are called FCC Part 20 in the US, and they've been adopted by the ISED in Canada. The class comes with many advantages over the competition, but the single biggest advantage is that Cel-Fi products are allowed to offer 100 decibels of gain. Remember this, folks, that's 100 decibels of boost or amplification, where the legacy incumbent competition in the same class are capped at only 70 decibels. So our product applies up to 1,000 times more amplification than the competition. And we're the only ones that do it in this class and at this price point. This we deliver by our own custom homegrown chipset that we call the Cel-Fi IntelliBoost. And what else? Our products are all connected in some form or fashion. We have something for all of you. Whether you're a do-it-yourselfer, an installer, an RF engineer, or whether you work for the operator and you want to get underneath the hood of a Cel-Fi, we've developed a smartphone app and a sophisticated IoT portal to help achieve the best performance possible. So next slide, please. So let's get started with our product lineup, and let's start from the smallest and go up. The first is for the smallest of spaces, there on the left. That's our Cel-Fi PRO and Duo. It's a 2-box solution. It's not an installation. It's a setup. It's plug and play. No antennas, no wiring, no technical acumen, no administration, no checking up with the solution. It's truly a set it and forget it product. And we'll talk about more in the next coming slide about this particular product. The next one is our Cel-Fi Go. It's more in line with competing against the incumbent solutions and offers the ability to install external antennas and customize coax and passive solutions. It's more of, this one here is more of an industrial solution that's hardened for industrial use, outdoor use, and very popular in the IoT space as well. And again, all our products have up to 100 decibels of gain, and they're all network safe. Furthest on the right is our Cel-Fi QUATRA. It's a scalable solution anywhere from 25,000 square feet and above. It can use a carrier picocell as a donor that gets boosted, or it takes the signal off air, often externally or internally installed donor antenna that picks up the carrier signal. Again, this is a carrier-only discrete solution. It's not boost everything. It's boost specifically the licensed spectrum of the carrier. So we'll talk about more in the next coming slides as well. So next slide. So folks, it's important that I stress that there's a difference between a competing legacy signal booster and a Cel-Fi solution. This illustration shows how a wideband bidirectional amplifier will boost the entire spectrum. And as a result, not all the signals are boosted equally, and some very poorly. The Cel-Fi product gives us and the users a better user experience because of its improved performance. More performance offers a better and larger coverage footprint. And altogether, it's a very very highly competitive price per square foot solution. All this with a network safe product that delivers more boost, but is still capable of doing it while maintaining stability, robustness, and reliability. We'll talk about more in the next coming slides as well. So next slide. So meet our Cel-Fi PRO, a veteran in the cellular boosting space and the world's only fully wireless plug-and-play solution to boost cellular signals. It's comprised of two units. You got the network unit and the coverage unit. Easy to install. It eliminates the need for wiring or truck roll. It's up and running in minutes. So take a space like this as an example. A space that has a large cellular dead zone, but some signal at a window or possibly on a second floor where everybody knows to run to make that call. You place the network unit there, then you walk over to the place where you need the improvement, and you place the coverage unit there. That's in the dead zone where you need the improvement. The units find each other and establish a wireless link. Signal is taken from point A and delivered to point B. You're done. This was an easy setup. This is a Cel-Fi PRO and available for all operators in Canada. So now let's talk about our Cel-Fi QUATRA solution for the middle price. This is for building owners who need a high quality solution that doesn't take weeks or months to deploy. The QUATRA is an active DAS solution, that's distributed antenna solution. Think any cellular challenge space between 25,000 square feet and above, but really up to 250,000 square feet, and we've seen higher. The QUATRA is challenging the incumbent big iron solutions and winning because QUATRA is an answer to these cost prohibitive solutions that are just too expensive in the space, in the building space, in the middle price square footage, where the middle price is often forced to fund their own solutions themselves. So think this type of square footage. Introducing the Cel-Fi QUATRA. It's an in-building cellular distribution solution. It solves spotty cellular coverage, poor voice quality, drop calls, dead zones. The QUATRA is a modern and innovative solution that easily solves these problems. It's affordable and it's all digital. It provides a uniform, high-quality cellular signal throughout a building and is scalable to the size you need. So unlike the older analog solutions that involved passive coax technology that required the installation of coaxial cable, the Cel-Fi QUATRA uses standard category 5E cabling for RF and power over Ethernet. So think delivering signal with no signal attenuation right to the perimeter of the building. So power over Ethernet especially. Those coverage units on the right, they only need Ethernet cabling. There's no running coax. There's no need for an external power supply like many other solutions. The QUATRA could be installed in just days compared to maybe weeks, typical of other solutions, and at a really great price point. Think wireless acumen, think IT skill set, think QUATRA solution, delivered in the exact same way. So see here are the QUATRA components. That's it. There's a network unit in the center, sometimes referred to as the head end, and those are coverage units, or sometimes referred to as remote radio units, or even access points too. The system is installed, again, very much how a Wi-Fi solution gets integrated and installed. Next slide. So to reiterate, our strong point here with the QUATRA is that it's a solution that it's very different than other cellular solutions, in which, by far, in which how QUATRA passes the amplified signal. It's done over a regular Cat5 cabling. And if the installation is going into a building and there's existing Cat5e cabling, that can be used as well. So the 4 steps here to install a QUATRA can be accomplished quite quickly. There's a site survey. There needs to be an understanding of where the signal needs to be improved. There's the cable and install, in which category 5E or better cabling is installed, again, very much like a Wi-Fi solution. The solution gets plugged in, and there's a commissioning point. So here's a solution that delivers up to 100 decibels of signal gain, unconditionally network safe, no administration, no follow-up, self-optimizing, self-adapting, adjust to the carrier's network, very cost-effective. So next slide. So here's what an install looks like at a high level. There's a donor antenna source shown on the left that feeds the Quattro with a cellular signal. In this illustration, it's an off-air antenna taken from the outside network. It can very well be a picocell as well. Then the network unit is connected to its coverage units. You want to cover more area? You install more network units and coverage units. 4 coverage units per network unit. And there's also an option of using existing Ethernet cabling. Again, folks, if there's existing Ethernet cabling in the building, that can be used. Just remember, the Ethernet cabling are direct connections and cannot go through live equipment like switches or routers. Next slide. So we offer everything that you'll need for a full turnkey install. We offer a bill of material estimator tool that salespeople love, the IBWave VEX files and IBWave design review. To also help in installation, offered incumbent in our solution is a free all-inclusive antenna pointing tool that eliminates the need for guessing, or for the more advanced, lugging around expensive network analyzers. Yes, our product can accomplish many of the same tasks that expensive network analyzers are built to do. And all this is explained, again, with our free Cel-Fi University online training. The takeaway here is that the technical acumen required to become a Cel-Fi partner of Novotech and Nextivity isn't as onerous as it may have been for past solutions. Next slide. So, not to mention, you get the Cel-Fi Wave platform. It's a cloud-based remote management platform that allows users to manage multiple systems. Imagine being able to monitor your Quattro, as shown by a single dashboard here. Getting emails, text messages when there's alarms or alerts, and being able to use the portal to offer a managed service for maintenance. This can be a source of recurring revenue. Well, you can pass this monitoring feature along to your end customer as well. Everything's included to help them close the opportunity. Next slide. Not to mention, by the way, we have all the accessories from donor antennas for all the possible use cases, antenna mounting accessories, to all the necessary adapters. Cel-Fi and Novotech have you covered. So let's finish up with some Canadian use cases here. Let's wrap it up. Let's understand the benefits and differentiation of Cel-Fi's product portfolio, and let's use some real-life examples of Cel-Fi installations. Next slide. So here was an opportunity here. It just happened to be a 6-story community age and wellness facility. This was a 6-story facility that was absent of Rogers, Telus, and Bell signal. And the vertical here happens to be brick and mortar building for hospital and wellness, but it could be expanded to any type of facility here. So the takeaway here was this particular opportunity. There was an incumbent integrator that was pitching an existing passive DAS solution that required installing a number of coaxial cables. And it turns out that when Cel-Fi got involved, we were able to educate the customer and explain how our solution was going to operate better, guarantee the performance, the minimal level of signal, and all the while providing the tools for the integrator to be able to do this. And this was a really successful use case here. Here's another one here with a little bit more data. So this was a government building, and think the type of structures that have really, obviously signal attenuating type materials. Anyways, this was a brick and mortar building as well, in which the interior had really weak signals here. So take a look at the before and after screen capture there, where obviously you can see more of the signal was improved. More darker yellow and green is obviously stronger. And there was empirical data shown here for a QUATRA solution that went into a 3-story facility where the signal was vastly improved and at a very cost-effective cost. Now, many of you are savvy and can read signal in the numerical form, and that's usually represented as RSSI. So we reiterate to our customers too, signal improvement is measured by decibels. So here's a simple table here. If the signal gets improved by 3 decibels, that's twice the power improvement. And this is logarithmic. So if it's improved by a 10 decibel factor, so your signal went from -100 to -90, that's 10 decibels of improvement. That's 10 times the power improvement. And we've been able to demonstrate beyond 30 decibels improvement. And that's 1,000 times the improvement in power signal. Next slide. Big box retail. Big box retail is a popular vertical here. Big box retail is seeing a surge in the requirement to provide cellular signal, not just for the shopping customer, but a lot of supporting power of sale, handhelds, sensors, what have you. There is a requirement now for cellular signal, and we're able to demonstrate in the big box vertical as well that we've been very competitive with our solution. Just happened to be a big solution for a popular big box retail store that we've shown vast improvement in. And that's it, folks. I wanted to thank you for joining the webinar today. It's been a privilege to deliver this presentation. And I wanted to thank Novotech for hosting the webinar. And thank you, Daniel. And I'd like to turn it back to Daniel. And if there's any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. That was excellent. And thank you, everybody, for listening. That'll do it for today's webinar. For those of you that have to go, we have recorded this webinar, and we'll be sending out a copy to all of those that attended. For those of you that wish to stick around, I'd like to take this time to open up the floor to anybody who has questions that may not have been answered throughout the webinar. There's a Q&A tab at the bottom of your presentation screen that you can use to ask any questions you may have. So, Paul, we've got one here if you're still on the line. What would you suggest for boosting signal to a cellular modem?
Yes, this is actually a growing vertical for us. So typically cellular modems are placed in areas like IT closets. So if it's vehicular, sometimes placed in a trunk. And we've seen this opportunity arise. So there's many solutions here. So one of them could be the Cel-Fi PRO. So if there's a cellular modem, say in a closet, an IT closet, perhaps it's for cellular backup. In this IT closet, it's in the confines of a building. Again, in an IT closet where there may not be enough cellular signal. The Cel-Fi PRO, recall there's a 2-box solution. You put the network unit where you have signal and the coverage unit where you need the signal. So in this situation, you can put the coverage unit in the IT closet or wherever the cellular modem may reside. And then you backtrack from there. You take the other box, which is a network unit, and you walk towards where you have the best possible signal, preferably at a window, but it doesn't have to be. And then signal's taken from box A, the network unit, and delivered to the coverage unit where the IT, IoT, LTE modem exists. Also, this can be done with the Cel-Fi Go too, as well. Cel-Fi Go can be used if the requirement is in a more industrial location where you need a hardened solution, and that's a Cel-Fi Go that can withstand NEMA 4 applications as well. So either the Cel-Fi PRO or the Cel-Fi Go have been successful in this vertical, Daniel.
Great, thank you. We've had a few questions come in about the carrier-specific aspect of the Cel-Fi products and how how easy it is, firstly, to change from Rogers to Bell or Telus or vice versa, and secondly, how easy it is when the signal's coming in. I'd like you, Paul, to elaborate maybe on when the signal comes in, how does the Cel-Fi unit differentiate between Rogers, Bell, or Telus signal?
Great question. So the first question is, can you change between operators? Yes, you can. So take the Cel-Fi PRO. The Cel-Fi PRO has a supporting app. You can search for Cel-Fi Wave. That's CEL-FI Wave in the App Store. And this is an all-inclusive app that lets you get underneath the hood of the Cel-Fi system. It connects to the Cel-Fi system via Bluetooth. And in that app, you'll have a drop-down menu which allows you to switch between all operators. So that's how you will switch between operators, and you can do that yourself. So how do we differentiate between carriers? Well, that is, in essence, a lot of our bread and butter in our R&D. So think handset, think cellular chipset, think very much how a cellular phone works, how a cellular phone is able to take the signal energy, decode the signal, decode the operator's network, listen to the broadcast channel, decode the broadcast channel, identify in the spectrum where the LTE exists, read from the broadcast channel who owns the network, because that's signaled in the broadcast channel over the air, and then understand what's the bandwidth of that signal. That's signaled as well. And all this is done by phones. Phones do this. That's what phones do. Cel-Fi solution is very much a sophisticated solution whereby we've designed in with our custom chipset. So think about all the custom chipsets that go into phones, and you know the suppliers. We have our own. So we're able to listen to the signal, decode it, identify which operator and in the band and where they exist, how big their bandwidth is, and just take out that chunk of channel and pass that through our all digital system where we clean it up, amplify it, and distribute it on the other side. So we're actually digitally filtering out the signal, and it's not done by way of you configuring the system. All this is automatic and incumbent upon our technology to read the signal off air and adjust over 2,000 times per second. So that's what separates Cel-Fi with our competitors. We're able to do all this. And remember, all that I just described affords us up to 100 decibels of gain. I know that sounds technical, but think that we can go up to 100 decibels of gain where the incumbent can go up to 65 and sometimes 72 decibels of gain.
Now, Paul, I'd like to go back to a previously asked question about connecting them to a modem. I just want to touch on what you think about having a direct connection to the modem, whether it's beneficial or maybe if there's a better solution out there for somebody who wants to direct connect to their modem.
Absolutely. So there's two ways to do this. The more popular way would be to, and this is popular with the Cel-Fi Go. The Cel-Fi Go is placed near the modem, and the Cel-Fi Go has an antenna. So the signal that's applied to the LTE modem is through that antenna. So you're improving the signal for the modem, and you're also improving the signal for the adjacent area. So maybe sometimes this is a popular use case in restaurants where they have a point of sale machine with an LTE modem. They improve the signal for the primary use case, which is the modem, but then they improve the signal for the area as well, which is obviously suffering from signal impairment. The other method to do it, if it's desired to do a direct connect, because our solution is obviously powerful enough that we work with the integrators by providing the recommendation to put a attenuator in line with, excuse me, with the coaxial between our solution and the LTE modem. But it can be very well be done more easier with just using, the standard antenna and doing the improvement through an antenna as opposed to direct connect. But both are supported.
Excellent, thank you. One thing I would like to touch on with regard to the decibels, so let's say, for example, somebody's hovering around negative 120 dB in raw signal strength. Is there any sort of cutoff for the Cel-Fi Pros or Go's?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I will begin by saying that our receiver, so our ability to pick up the existing signal, we have a very well-performing low noise figure receiver. So pretty much if your device, if you have one bar of signal, we'll work with that signal. So the minimum is minus 120 dBm RSRP for LTE and minus 104 dBm RSCP for 3G. And further, to those that are savvy, you can appreciate our solution being able to offer up to 100 decibels of gain. Because if you're taking in a signal of that magnitude, something that weak, if you don't have enough amplification, you're not going to make very much of that weak signal. And that's what happens with legacy solutions that just can't afford to amplify the signal much more than 70 decibels. So with 100 decibels of gaining, which the Cel-Fi solution provides, you can really make use of those weak signals that you just described. Good questions.
Yeah, we've got a lot here, Paul.
Okay, keep going.
So being that Cel-Fi is carrier specific, let's go back to the modem application for a moment, and if you could elaborate on a particular application where you're utilizing failover with more than one carrier. What would you recommend for somebody who needs failover and they need both of those carriers to be boosted?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. There's a two-part answer to this. There's obviously the out-of-the-box solution that tries to encompass, a catch-all for 90% of the use cases in which the general public uses the products to. And that's, one solution for one carrier. And where it may not make sense to put two Cel-Fi Go's or two Cel-Fi Pros for this situation because of a lack of being cost effective, if there's a definitive use case that can be described where the customer would like to define, well, this particular band for, say, Rogers and this particular band for TELUS, I would like both of these bands. And then sometimes this is possible because LTE modems can be configured to work on particular bands. Then our product can do both. And what I mean by both, it can be configured to do that, but not out of the box. You'll obviously work with Novotech and Nextivity to deliver this solution. But off-the-shelf solution, you'd have to double up the solution to be able to get two carriers in this situation, which I understand, of course, doubling the cost might not be cost effective, but that would be the standard scenario. And again, there's the customized solution too. And this is why we're a technology company and we listen to all these use cases and we have potential solutions for all of them.
I've got another application-specific one for you here, Paul. If you could elaborate, and I know a little bit about your power supplies, but if you could elaborate perhaps on the power supply range for, let's say, your Go products. We've got an application here where they're using a solar panel and 12-volt batteries.
Yes.
And they're wondering if you've got a solution that can accommodate, all kinds of different power supplies.
Excellent question. So the standard power supply is obviously one that you plug into the wall. So that's the 110, 120 volt AC, 60 hertz standard power supply. You plug it into the wall. Now take this a question here where they're applying power through a solar system. Well, the actual product itself, it takes 12 to 24 volts DC of power. So anywhere between 12 and 24. If that power is available, that can be applied directly to the Cel-Fi Go. And even better, our product is robust enough to have a tolerance to drop even below 12 and above 24. So I would say plus or minus 3 volts DC. So the option, to reiterate, is they find a 110, 120 volt supply and plug in the regular wall adapter, or probably easier for them is that they provide a, probably a DC to DC inverter where the voltage can fluctuate, but it's maintained, preferably anywhere from 12 to 24 volts. And then we've seen this applied in the field as well before.
We've got one more for you here, Paul. I'm not sure how much longer, how many more questions you can do, but you touched earlier on a few slides about RSRQ, RSSI, RSRP. If you could elaborate a little bit on what some of those mean, and maybe what would happen in a particular scenario where RSRQ was poor, but the RSRP was good.
Yeah. So, and by the way, I'm free to answer questions, so I'll let you decide how many questions you want to go. So obviously this question was asked by an RF engineer or someone with the similar savviness. So let's see if I can answer the question. RSRP, that is what defines coverage. Now, if I'm installing a system, and my goal, of course, is to provide coverage, and let's imagine a coverage bubble. My goal is to orient that antenna, or if it's a Cel-Fi Pro with internal antennas, I'm going to put that network unit in the window or on the side of the building or on the floor. That's going to yield the best RSRP, because when I boost signal, I want the best RSRP coming in, because more RSRP coming in, and with the amplification of a Cel-Fi, we're going to get a better coverage footprint. So RSRP is what defines coverage. Now RSRQ, that is more or less a variable which both network engineers use, and of course your phone handset uses in conjunction with the network to foster successful handoffs between cell to cell. So it's imperative that you want to get the best RSRQ. And again, this is a value that's measured by the phone and used by the phone and the network in conjunction for handoffs. But yes, you want the best RSRQ, and sometimes you're at the mercy of what your donor signal is. But where you want to go from there is first go after the best RSRP, and then try to orient the system, whether it's put it on the right window, the right floor, the right side of the premises, or your donor antenna by pointing it. By the way, our product combined with the Cel-Fi app is a network analyzer. You can point this throughout the horizon of your donor antenna, and you'll end up getting measurements for every direction you point, and you can end up pointing in direction with the best RSRQ and RSRP by using our system that feeds you that information in real time. And I think whoever's listening on the technical side that's interested in this stuff will find that very handy. Next question.
That's actually all we've got at the moment, Paul. So I'll cut it off there. I'd like to thank everybody who's still on the line. For those of you who have any questions, if you think of any questions over the next few days, or if you don't feel like we answered your questions adequately enough, you can respond to the email that was sent to you, and we'll either set up another phone call or we'll try to answer your question better there. But that's it for me. Thanks everybody for coming.